Okay, so welcome to part 2 of this tutorial on the Synthstrom Deluge, and this is for beginners, of course. We're going to start developing our tracks now by making them longer. So let's lengthen each of our 3 tracks to 4 bars. Let's go to our drum track. Now we're currently looking at the arranger view. Our drum track is the top one here. If I press the tail pad, that's the second dimly lit one, it will take me straight to the drum track. It's just confirmed that it is the drum track by pressing play. Of course we can hear all 3 tracks, but we know it's the drum track because we can see the hi-hats and the 2 snares and the 4 bass drums. Of course it's stopping because I've gone straight from arranger view. Now we want to double the length of the track to change it from 1 bar to 2 bars. So we're going to hold down the shift button, this button here, okay, and then we're going to press down on the left right knob, that's this one here, and look at the display, it will flash 1/8, okay. Now if I run this, watch the main grid. Now you saw that the drum track went on for 2 bars, but the other 2 tracks stopped after 1 bar, so we know we've got 2 bars of drums. Now just press down on that left right button, so 1/8, okay. So what's happened is that the Deluge, it's actually zoomed out to see the whole 2 bars. So now this is 1 bar and this is 2 bars, so you can see your 4 bass drums are there, your 2 snares are there, and then your 16th semiquaver hi-hats have been condensed into these 8 pads here. So bar 1, bar 2. So that's quite clever, isn't it? I mean, you can zoom in again if you want to. I'll take it to 16ths. Now if I play it, you see the full bar, but you don't see the second bar because that's off the screen. Okay, let's zoom back to 1/8. So it's clever that the Deluge does that automatically for you, I think. And now let's go to song mode and back to track mode. Okay. Now, what's happening now is that the 1 bar bass and 1 bar electric piano are looping every bar, and the drum track is looping every 2 bars, so you don't get that stopping electric piano and bass after the first bar. Okay, let's double that drum track again. So we're on the drum track, we can see that. We're going to take it up to 4 bars now. So it's already 2 bars. So if I press shift and the left right button down again, now we're seeing our 4 bars all on the grid. And if we see the resolution by pressing the left right button down, it's saying 4th. So every pad, every step represents 1 quarter, 1 crotchet, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Of course it will loop. So now we've got our 4 bars of drums and we've condensed them down, and if we press down the left right button and go to 1/8, we see 2 bars, 16th we'd only see 1 bar. Okay, we'll just bring it back so it's on 4ths. So every pad on the kick drum row is now illuminated. The snare drum is every other pad, and of course the hi-hats won't have changed. Notice the colours change because it's not a true representation anymore, it's condensed, because for every one of these white pads you've got 4 hi-hat strikes. So it's the zooming you need to get a handle on. Once you've got the idea of that, it makes it really simple to follow where you are. Now we're seeing the whole of the 4 bars. Let's just change the resolution to 16ths. Okay, now if I dial the left right knob, I can see the 4 bars. See? Bar 1, beat 1, bar 2, beat 1, bar 3, beat 1, bar 4, beat 1. See? Let's just take it back to 4ths, so quarter notes if you like. Now let's go back to the song view, press the song button up here. Notice how the drum track up here is 4 times longer than the synth track and the electric piano track because it is 4 times longer. Let's go to the arranger view. Now in the arranger view the same thing applies. You notice we've now got 8 pads illuminated. I hope the camera's seeing that. We've got the bright blue one and 7 dimly lit ones, but on the synth and the synth bass and the electric piano we've got 1 brightly lit pad and 1 tail pad. And again, if we press play, we'll get our 4 bars and it will stop. So we've obviously got a problem. We've obviously got to lengthen the other 2 tracks to 4 bars in the same way, and in that case all the tracks will be equal in both the song and arranger view. And in the song view you can zoom in and out just as you can in the track view. Let's just go back to that song view and zoom in and out. See, 8th, 16th, that's 4th. So let's go back to our synth bass. We're going to press one of these pads on this row to take us to the synth bass track, and we're going to double it so it flashes 8th, double it again, flashes 4th. So let's run that. Okay, and I'm going to go to the song view again, press one of the pads on the electric piano row here, and we're going to hold shift, press the left right button down once, flashes 8th, and again flashes 4th. Now we've got 4 bars of all of our tracks. So 4 bars of drums, 4 bars of synth bass, 4 bars of electric piano. If we go to our arranger view, so all of our 8 pads have got lights on. We press play, we get our 4 bars of all the instruments, and then it will stop. Now on my notes here I've written the word save, so here's a good place to save. So save. Now do you remember what I said? It flashes to 5A. If you want to just save over 5, which I'm going to do, just dial the select button to the left, flashes up 5, press save again, and you are now saved. So you've got your song saved as song 5. Let's call the section that we've made the intro. Now we want to make a verse. Now the good way of doing this, okay, you could start again, do a load of different tracks, but what is a really good way is to clone the tracks. I'm sure you know what a clone is, an exact copy. So first of all we're going to clone all 3 tracks. So this means we're going to make an exact copy of them. We're going to go to song view, there we are. We're going to hold down any pad on this drum track. I'm going to use the 16th one so you can see what I'm doing, and then press any pad on this unused 4th row, and what happens is we've now got an exact copy on this 4th row of the 1st row. Okay, notice it's highlighted in red and it's given us a different colour here, so it won't play, in other words. So we've got this exact copy here. Hold down any grid pad on the synth bass track, and then any pad on the unused 5th row. We've now got an exact copy of the synth bass. Same thing for the electric piano. Hold down any pad. I'm going to use pad 16 so you can see the display and what I'm doing. So hold it down. It flashes up 71 just to remind us we're on synth patch 71, the roads. And then we're going to press this first pad. It could be any pad of this unused 6th row, and we've got an exact copy. So you can see from the colours, hopefully, rows 1 and 4, tracks 1 and 4 are identical, 2 and 5 are identical, 3 and 6 are identical. So we've got an exact copy. Okay, drums, synth bass, electric piano, drums, synth bass, electric piano, and notice our copies have all got a different colour in the audition section column to the original ones. These are all blue, these are all pink. These 3 tracks are all green, so they'll all play if I press play. And these are all red, so they won't play. Before we make sense of this, let's make some changes to our cloned tracks. So we're going to press the mute launch button of the cloned drum track. That's track 4. Notice how its original has gone red. Okay, and press any grid pad in row 4 in that clone drum track, and we'll be taken to track view for this track. So I'm going to press this one. So we're now in track 4, the cloned drum track, and at the moment it's exactly the same as the first drum track. Just press play. 4 bars, no changes. We're now going to make use of cross screen, this button here. Now if I press it, it won't light up because everything I've got I can see actually in this grid. So I'm going to change the resolution. I'm going to press down the left right button, turn it once, twice to 16ths. Now I've got 1 bar, 2 bars, 3 bars, 4 bars. And now when I press the cross screen button, it lights up. So with this cross screen button lit, any changes I make to this bar will be reflected in the other 3 bars. If I take these 2 snares out, okay, and run the track, you can hear it's gone from those other bars as well. Put it back in. And the reason for this, of course, is it saves all that horrible, tedious, keep changing every screen as we go. So it's a really good thought by the guys at Synthstrom, this. So we're in 16th, okay, in that resolution. And look at your row of hi-hats, the 3rd row up. Now press the 3rd, 7th, 11th and 15th pad. So 3rd, okay, 7th, 11th and 15th. And then go to the row above, which is open hi-hat, hat O it says, and press the equivalent pad. So that one there, that one there, that one there, and that one there. Now just run this. We've got that sort of effect that we get from a real drummer. And notice how when the open hi-hat sounds, the closed hi-hat that follows it closes the hi-hat, so it works like a real drummer. See? And notice I've done it in this bar, but it's also been reflected in the other 3 bars because we've got our cross screen button down. We've made a change now to our cloned drum track. Let's change the synth bass track. Go back to song view, okay, and press the mute launch button of the cloned synth bass track. That's this one here, so it lights. Notice its original has now gone red. You can't have them both playing, obviously it wouldn't make sense with it, otherwise you'd have a clash of 2 tracks on the same sound. So it's this one here. Press any pad on that row, and we're now in the cloned synth bass track, and at the moment it's exactly the same as its original. Let's have a look at the resolution. We're in 16th, that's what we want. Notice the cross screen light's gone out, so you need to repress it. And now we're going to make some changes to this. So we're going to press the 3rd, this one here, the 7th, the 11th and the 15th pad, so they've gone out. We're going to press the same pad but on this top row. Now you might remember that bottom and top give us octaves, so we're going to have a typical octave bass run here. So we're going to press the 3rd pad, the 7th pad, the 11th pad and the 15th pad. Run it. And because we've got cross screen on, that's also happened on the 2nd, 3rd and 4th bars of the synth bass track. So we've now got 4 bars of synth bass and 4 bars of drums, which are different to the original 2. Right, let's go on to the electric piano track. Go back to song view. Press the mute launch button of the cloned electric piano. It's this one here. Notice it lights green and its original goes red. Okay, press any pad on that electric piano row. It's this one here. And we're now in the cloned electric piano track, which at the moment is unaltered. Resolution, just double check. Yes, it's 16th. We're going to press the cross screen light. Notice it's gone out, so we need to repress it. Because it can be a bit of a nightmare. I was doing this yesterday, writing my kind of script for this video, and I forgot this cross screen light was on. I was editing away and I realised I'd made a complete mess of something, so I had to go back. But we want it on for this. Now at the moment we've got this 2 C majors and 2 F majors. We're going to change this. So look at the 2 lip pads on the 3rd row down on the F major chord. This one and this one, okay? We're going to extinguish those by pressing them again, and we're going to press the pad directly below that, okay? Now what we now have is, instead of having an F major chord, which would be, we're going to have an F added second. So it's, yeah, I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to press them twice because obviously as I press them they're going out. It's, instead of, we've now got, don't forget, if you want to try anything out you can do it over here on the audition pads. So now we've got 2 C major chords. We've actually got 2 F added second chords, but because we've got that C root note, it's really feeling more like a C sus4. Let's just run it. Bit like Pinball Wizard, you know, C and C sus4. So we've now made changes so that we've got 2 distinct sections, an intro, and we're going to call this the verse. Let's go back to the song view. We've got our first 3 tracks, which are lit up in blue over on the audition section pads, and we've got our new tracks which are lit up in pink. These are green, so they'll play, and the original 3 won't play. So now you're beginning to understand what this section business is about. So the blue pads indicate tracks in one section, okay, which is of course our intro, and the pink pads indicate a different section, which is what we're going to call our verse. If I just press play, if I play this, it's these 3 tracks that are going to play because they're green. But if I press any of these blue section pads on these 3 rows, I don't have to press all 3. What will happen is at the end of the 4 bars, the Deluge will switch over to playing these 3, and you'll see the flashing lights. Hopefully. Watch out for it. Here it comes. I'm going to press the pink buttons now, and watch what happens. It changes back. So you can see that if you are doing a live set and you had like an intro and you wanted to keep the intro going before you went into the verse, you could do that, and when you're ready for the verse, just press one of the pink pads. Don't have to press all 3. Of course you can individually mute any track you like. I mean, if I've got it playing and I press that at the end of the 4 bars, it's going to cut out, be the bass cuts out. See, press the pad again, we'll come in again at the end of 4. Or if I want to cut it out immediately, just press shift. So shift, I pressed record by mistake there, but it doesn't make any difference. If you press shift, you can make it happen immediately. So you're not sort of tied to that, you know, setup of waiting for the 4 bars, and you can I mean, you could bring in a track in another colour. So if I was playing this and the pink coloured tracks are playing, and I wanted to play just this synth bass here, watch what happens. Now just the synth bass out of that intro has cut in, so I've got like a mixture now. I've got 2 tracks from the verse and the bass track from the intro. What I'm trying to say is it's very, very flexible. So remember what the song view is used for, okay? The tracks are laid out from left to right, so they don't really make a lot of sense visually, especially as we get more and more tracks in. Only sections of the same colour are meant to play together in this view. So like I said, like Ableton Live, you've got, this is your clip view if you like. Right, good time to save, so press save. Notice it's gone to 5A. Yeah, let's save it to 5A so it shows that it does that. So if I went back and loaded 5 in, listen to what happens. It's gone back to where I was before, but if I want to get up to date again, press load, scroll around to 5A, load, and then I'll I've got my new amended tracks. That's a really good way of doing it, isn't it? So you can always go back in time if you're getting a bit of a mess. So we've got our new tracks now. Let's use them in the arranger. We've now got 6 different tracks using 3 different sounds. So let's head on over to the arranger by pressing the song button again. It's flashing. Going to check the resolution. It's on second, that's what we want. And you should currently have your 4 original intro bars showing 1 brightly lit pad and 7 dimly lit. Let's just play that. And it stops, so that's absolutely fine. Now we want to introduce our verse. This is our intro here. So in our timeline, we now want our verse to start here. So what we're going to do is this. We're going to press the 9th pad on each row. Now notice it lights up in blue. So if I was to play that, I'd simply have my intro twice. Now we're going to press the 9th pad on the drum row. Press it down. I'm doing it like this so you can see. Hopefully you can see this. I'm going to turn the select button to the left, and notice it's now lit up pink. So if I play this, at this point the drums are going to change over. Do you remember in our song mode the verse is pink? If I play this at this point, the drums are going to change over to the changed drum track with the open hi-hats, but these 2 tracks, the synth, bass and electric piano, are going to stay as they were for the intros. They're going to have a bit of a mix up of the 2. Let's have a listen. So there it is. And then it stops. So let's press the 9th pad of the synth bass and turn the select button to the left, 1 click and it's gone pink. Same thing on the electric piano. Now we'll have our intro and we'll have our verse. Here comes the change. And it's pretty clear to see it's a linear thing, left to right. We can see our song progressing. By the way, if you want to just play from the verse pattern, if you get hold of the left right button and scroll, it's quite weird. You turn it to the right and that forces the display that way, because it's scrolling through the track, because it looks like the deluge is kind of gobbling up the patterns. So now if I press play, it will go from the beginning. But if I press this left right button down and press play, it will go from here, which of course is the start of the verse. And then it stops, and it doesn't go back to the beginning. Notice it will go from there. But if I press play, it goes back to the beginning. So basically we've got 2 points from which the deluge can play. We've got the beginning just by pressing play, and from where the grid is set, hold the left right button down, press play, let go, and it goes from there. So it's kind of two cue points, which is quite useful. I do tend to scroll the thing back to the beginning as a matter of course when I'm working on it. At the moment, our resolution is set as seconds, so each column, if you like, is 2 beats, or a minimum. So a bar is two columns, okay? So basically what we're seeing here is, if I play it, so every pad is 2 beats. So that's a bar, that's a bar, that's a bar, that's a bar. 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. So basically we've got 8 bars. We've got our 4-bar intro pattern and our 4-bar verse pattern. Okay. But if you want to zoom out so the pads represent 1 bar on the timeline instead of 2 beats, press down on the left right knob, turn the knob 1 click to the left, and now it says 1 bar on the display. Notice how now it's all been condensed down, and each column is 1 bar. And as the song gets bigger, you can do that more. At the moment, the limit is 1 bar. You don't need any more than that. But obviously, as the song gets longer and longer and longer, you can see more and more and more for each pad. So that's quite handy. And of course, you can zoom it the other way, right the way up to 64th. Okay, let's take it back to 1 bar for a moment. So there's every pad is the equivalent of 1 bar of music. And we can see our intro is here to here, and our verse is here to here. Now, whatever the resolution is set to will determine how far you scroll through the song with the left-right knob. So obviously, at the moment, it just goes in bars. So 1 bar, 2 bars, 3 bars, 4 bars. It just shows bar 1, beat 1, bar 2, beat 1. You can't get in the middle of those, so obviously you have to zoom in if you want to get into the middle of that. So if I go to 16ths by pushing in and clicking, keep clicking. So now when I turn the knob, it goes up in increments of a 16th. So, semiquaver. So bar, it shows on the display the bar, the beat and the 16th. Right, so it really does make a lot of sense to understand this zooming, then you always know where you are. Let's just take it back to 1 bar. And make sure you are right back at the beginning. So let's make the verse longer. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, you want your verse to last for 8 bars and not 4. So what we need to do is long press this 5th pad. Now if I just press it lightly and come off, it deletes it. So I'm going to put it back in. So long press it so you don't delete it, and then press the 9th pad, and notice that's gone pink. So basically we've got, instead of 4 bars, we've now got 8 bars. Let's do the same for these 2 tracks. Long press, and now you can see that your verse is going to last for 8 bars. Let's just play all of that. So here's our intro 4 bars. Now here is our verse of 8 bars. And if we just scroll over, not pressing down with our left-right knob, you'll see it goes all the way up to, it goes to 13 because that's the next available bar where we can record. Remember, we're not adding any notes here, we're simply putting our tracks in our arranger window in this linear form so we can see our song travelling from left to right. Now, this arranger song pointer, if you have a look at it, it moves across as you would imagine. You can see the white column moving across. Okay. But there's another way of setting it up. If you press cross screen, now what happens is the pointer remains static at the left of the grid, and like I said before, it looks like the deluge is gobbling up the columns. Watch what happens. So it shuffles to the left each time. I'm not sure which one I prefer, but you've got the option of the 2 there. So if you want to put a gap in this arranger anywhere, you might want to open up so you've got some empty bars. Now, I've positioned the arrangement so that it's at the beginning of the verse. Now if I want to open up some bars here, make a gap in my arrangement, hold down Shift, turn the left-right knob, don't press it down, and you'll see on the left here we've got an empty set of pads. I've done it once, do it 2nd, 3rd and 4th times. Now if I scroll back, you can see now here I've got these empty 4 columns. So go right back to the beginning, you can see I'll have my intro, then I'll have 4 bars of silence, and then I'll go into my verse. 2, 3, 2, 3. Now I'm going to have 4 bars of silence. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it'll kick in with the verse. Okay, you can always undo that. So undo, and you'll see now, if I scroll back, I've lost that. And that's going to come in handy when we want to introduce something called white tracks, which I'll show you in another tutorial. Now you can change the resolution, and then your gaps won't be bars, they'll be, I set up one bar. If I did it here, it'd be gaps of increments of 2 beats, or 1 beat, or quarter, or quavers rather, or semiquavers. But you know, that's all in the future. You might want to make a gap at the beginning. So if you just scroll all the way to the left like this, and then hold Shift and turn to the right, then you can see now I've got 4 bars of silence at the beginning. Of course, always reverse that, or press undo, press back to undo it. And of course, at this point, you know, you could always add more tracks in track view, and then make your arrangement far more interesting. Okay, I think we're going to stop there. That's a really good place to stop. Sorry there's such long videos, but there's quite a lot to say going into the level of detail that I am. And if you do have any questions, do get in touch with me. Like I say, I'll try and timestamp it so you can see the bits you want if you don't want to plough through the whole thing. So anyway, thank you very much for watching. That's the end of this second video. There is one I've done already and probably another one to come.